Welcome back to Beyond World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. Democratic Socialist Zoran Mandani announced his victory in the New York mayoral election, marking a historic moment as the city's first Indian-American Muslim and youngest elected mayor at 34. Taking the stage, Mamdani delivered a fiery address directing strong words towards US President Donald Trump. He declared that to reach any of them, one would have to go through all of them, asserting that New York, the city that gave rise to Trump, would be the one to show the nation how to defeat him. He vowed to end the culture of corruption that allows billionaires like Trump to evade taxes and exploit tax breaks. California voters have approved new congressional district maps under Proposition 50, a major win for Democrats in the national redistricting fight that could shape control of Congress in 2026. The new boundaries could give Democrats up to 5 additional House seats, countering Republican gains from Texas's recent redistricting at President Trump's urging. With the GOP holding a narrow 219 to 213 majority, every seat counts. The vote also marks a political victory for Governor Gavin Newsom, who framed the measure as a stand against Trump and a move to protect American democracy. US President Donald Trump has signed an order to reduce fentanyl-related tariffs on Chinese goods, a key part of his recent deal with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. After returning to the presidency, Trump had imposed 20% tariffs on Chinese products over its alleged role in the fentanyl supply chain. Following their summit last month in South Korea, China pledged to curb the flow of fentanyl precursors, and in response, the US will cut the tariffs from 20 to 10% starting November 10th. The Trump administration has carried out its 16th deadly strike on an alleged drug boat, killing 2 people. This is according to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The attack in the Eastern Pacific raises the total death toll from US operations in South American waters to at least 66 across 16 strikes. The announcement comes as an aircraft carrier headed to the region, signaling a broader expansion of US military efforts against drug trafficking. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has firmly stated that unilateral US military action in Mexico won't happen, despite recent US military operations across Latin America. Her remarks followed an NBC News report claiming the US was planning a new anti-cartel mission involving troops and intelligence agents inside Mexico. Speaking at her regular press conference, Sheinbaum dismissed the report, emphasizing that Mexico would not permit such action. She has consistently rejected US military involvement, including past offers from President Trump. The White House has announced that US President Donald Trump will host Syrian leader Ahmad al-Shara for talks on November 10th. White House Press Secretary said al-Shara has made good progress towards establishing peace in Syria, a country devastated by years of civil war. Details of the agenda have not been released, but the meeting signals US interest in supporting stabilization efforts in the region. At least 3 people have died and 11 others were injured after a UPS cargo plane crashed in Louisville, Kentucky, shortly after takeoff, erupting into a massive fireball. Kentucky governor has said the number of fatalities is expected to rise and described the crash as violent. Authorities have issued a shelter-in-place for residents within 5 miles of the airport, and major road closures remain in effect as emergency crews respond.
Bro, get the fuck away from here, like, turn around. Bro, no, hold on. I think it's gonna crash, bro. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Dick Cheney, former US Vice President, has died at the age of 84. Cheney served as defense chief under George H.W. Bush and as vice president under his son George W. Bush, playing a central role in shaping post-9/11 policy, including the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. A staunch advocate of controversial surveillance and detention measures, he remained steadfast in his views despite criticism over the Iraq War. Cheney battled serious heart problems throughout his life and underwent a heart transplant. His political legacy extends to his daughters, Liz Cheney, a former House Republican leader, and Mary Cheney, a longtime advocate for gay rights. Israel has received a body from Hamas via the Red Cross in Gaza, which will be transported for identification. Hamas said the remains belong to a hostage previously held by Palestinian militants in Shijaya, an eastern suburb of Gaza City. The recovery followed Israel granting access for Hamas and Red Cross teams to the area, which remains under Israeli control. Officials have not yet confirmed the identity of the body. The EU's Enlargement Commissioner has praised Montenegro, Albania, Ukraine, and Moldova for their progress towards joining the bloc, calling expansion a realistic possibility within the coming years. Ukraine has pushed ahead with reforms despite Russia's invasion and Hungary blocking formal membership talks. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has welcomed the report, saying the EU must take decisive action to overcome artificial obstacles and ensure a strong, united Europe. Russian President Vladimir Putin has praised the country's latest weapons, highlighting the Burevestnik cruise missile and Poseidon underwater drone at a ceremony honoring their developers. Putin claimed the Burevestnik's range surpassed all known missile systems and suggested foreign experts could verify its capabilities, noting a NATO reconnaissance ship was nearby during testing. The remarks come amid Russia's ongoing efforts to showcase advances in its strategic weapons program. Brazilian President Lula da Silva has condemned a deadly police raid in Rio de Janeiro that left 121 people dead, calling it a massacre. Speaking in Belém, Lula urged a full investigation into the circumstances of the operation. The raid targeted the Red Command drug gang, with thousands of officers clashing with heavily armed men who reportedly used drones to drop explosives on police. Footage showed gang members preparing for battle and retreating into a forested area where many bodies were later found. The incident has reignited debate over Rio's deep-rooted security crises and policing tactics. The United Nations has confirmed famine in the southern Sudanese cities of El Fasher and Kadugli, where war has caused a total collapse of livelihoods. The latest assessment by the FAO, WFP and UNICEF says 375,000 people are facing famine, while another 6.3 million across Sudan face extreme hunger. The conflict, ongoing since April 2023, has killed more than 40,000 people, displaced 14 million and fueled disease outbreaks. Areas where fighting has eased are seeing some recovery, but in the hardest hit zones, severe malnutrition and starvation continue. Mali's junta leader General Assimi Goita has addressed country's worsening fuel crisis caused by a jihadi blockade of fuel tankers. Militants from the Al-Qaeda-linked JNIM group banned fuel imports from neighboring countries in September, worsening shortages and leaving hundreds of trucks stranded. The blockade has disrupted Mali's economy, caused long queues at gas stations, school closures and power outages. Goita has urged citizens to reduce travel while the military continues to escort convoys and target militant positions. The crisis highlights the growing insecurity across the Sahel region. Tens of thousands of anti-government protesters have gathered outside Serbia's parliament building following the anniversary of the deadly Novi Sad railway station canopy collapse that killed 16 people. Among them is Diana Herka, whose son died in the disaster. She began a hunger strike calling for accountability and new elections. An independent commission reported to the European Parliament last week that high-level corruption and poor construction standards contributed to the collapse. Months of protests have shaken President Alexander Vucic's rule and intensified calls for early elections. Striking transport workers took to the streets of Lima to protest a rise in extortion and attacks on public workers. Peruvian President Jose Jerry, joined by top ministers, met with demonstrators pledging government efforts to tackle crime. Union members have halted activities to press their demands. Official data shows reports of extortion rose nearly 30% between January and August, while killings increased 30% compared with the same period last year. Authorities say the government is mobilizing resources to protect transport workers and curb violence. Brazilian President Lula da Silva has said that the focus on protecting the Amazon should be on investment, not donations, ahead of COP30 in Belém. Lula criticized small contributions, saying billions are needed to address the real challenges facing people in the region. His comments come as the Tropical Forest Forever Fund is set to launch at the conference, aiming to mobilize large-scale support for conservation and local communities in the Amazon. A fire at a retirement boarding house in Tuzla, northeastern Bosnia, has killed at least 10 and injured over 20 people. The blaze broke out on one of the upper floors, prompting firefighters to evacuate residents. Police sources cited by local media outlets provided the death toll, though authorities have yet to publicly confirm the details. Visuals from the scene showed flames engulfing part of the facility as emergency crews worked to control the fire. Typhoon Kalmaegi has claimed at least 90 lives and displaced hundreds of thousands as heavy rains continue to batter central Philippines. Entire towns on the island of Cebu are submerged, with 39 fatalities confirmed in the province alone. Casualties in the city are still being tallied as officials update the death toll. At least 5 more people have died in surrounding provinces. Rescue teams in the city are actively searching for survivors. The United States is providing $24 million in emergency aid to help Caribbean nations hit by Hurricane Melissa. The funding will support shelter, food, water, sanitation, and health care for those affected in Jamaica, Haiti, the Bahamas, and Cuba. Secretary of State Rubio has allocated $12 million for Jamaica, $8.5 million for Haiti, $3 million for Cuba, and $500,000 for the Bahamas. U.S. disaster assistance response teams are on the ground assessing ongoing needs in the region. Australia's internet watchdog widened its world-first teen social media ban to include Reddit and video live streaming platform Kick. The watchdog said that more sites could be added if their main role was to enable online social interaction. Australia will become the first country to fine social media firms up to $32 million if they fail to take reasonable steps to block users aged under 16. The law will become effective from December 10th. The E-Safety Commissioner of Australia urged tech firms to continually assess whether they meet the definition of an age-restricted social media platform when they introduce new features or their primary usage changes. According to a Bloomberg report, Apple is preparing to launch a budget Mac in the first half of next year, entering the low-cost laptop market for the first time. The device aimed to lure customers away from Google's Chromebooks and entry-level Windows PCs is made for students, businesses, and casual users who primarily browse the web, work on documents, or conduct light media editing. The iPhone maker aims to sell the laptop, codenamed J700, well under $1,000 by using less advanced components and is currently in active testing. French judicial authorities have opened an investigation into Chinese social media platform TikTok and the risks that its algorithms could push young people to suicide. Paris prosecutor Laure Decaux said the probe was in response to a French Parliament committee's request to open a criminal inquiry into TikTok's possible responsibility for endangering the lives of its young users. The committee sought to examine the psychological effects of TikTok, owned by China's ByteDance, on young people after 7 families accused it in a 2024 lawsuit of exposing their children to content pushing them to commit suicide. Startup Perplexity AI says it has received a legal threat from Amazon, demanding that it block its Comet browser's AI agent from shopping on Amazon's platform on behalf of users. The company, known for its rapidly growing AI assistant, rejected Amazon's claims, accusing the tech giant of using its market power to stifle competition. Amazon, however, said it had repeatedly asked Perplexity to remove Amazon from the Comet shopping experience, citing a degraded shopping and customer service experience. Meta Platforms rejected a ruling by France's rights watchdog against its algorithm after allegations of discriminatory job advertisements on its social network, Facebook. The independent authority, defender of rights, in its October 10th ruling said Meta's algorithm treats Facebook users differently based on gender, restricting or favoring job visibility depending on whether the user is male or female, a form of indirect discrimination that violates equity laws. It recommended Meta Ireland and Facebook France to take measures to ensure that job ads are non-discriminatory, given the US tech giant 3 months to inform the French body of the measures. The White House has confirmed that the Trump administration is not planning to allow NVIDIA to sell its most advanced AI chip, known as the Blackwell, to China right now. White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt confirmed the decision during a press conference, saying the US is not interested in selling the Blackwell chip to China at this time. The statement reinforces President Donald Trump's earlier comments that the top-end AI chips would be reserved for US companies only, keeping them out of China and other countries. Asian markets extended Wall Street's losses on Wednesday amid growing fears of overvalued stocks. South Korea is the leading declines, with the Kospi dropping nearly 3%, sliding below 4,000, while Japan's Nikkei dropped more than 2.5%. The decline in Asian stocks is led by shares of AI-linked companies and tech firms. Japan-listed SoftBank plunged as much as 13%, and South Korean memory chip giants Samsung Electronics lost nearly 6%. CEOs of major banks like Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs warned that sky-high valuations may be unsustainable, sparking a broader retreat. Gold prices steadied on Wednesday after an earlier drop, as investors assessed the dollar and the outlook for US interest rates. Spot gold traded near $3,970 an ounce after falling sharply on Tuesday, while the dollar index remained strong. Analysts say the metal is struggling to regain momentum amid expectations that the Federal Reserve will keep rates higher for longer. The stronger greenback has also dampened demand for gold, making it costlier for overseas buyers. China's services sector expanded in October, but at its slowest pace in 3 months. The S&P Global Services PMI fell to 52.6 from 52.9 in September, pointing to a loss of momentum in the country's post-pandemic recovery. The survey showed new export borders contracted for the first time in 4 months, even as domestic demand held steady. Employment continued to decline, and backlogs of work shrank, signaling weaker business confidence. Economists say that data adds pressure on Beijing to consider targeted policy support as growth in the world's second-largest economy remains uneven. Oil prices eased on Wednesday for the second day after an industry report indicated the biggest increase in US inventories in more than 3 months. Brent crude traded near $64 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate hovered around $60. The move is seen as a sign that the producer group expects weaker demand or higher inventories in the months ahead. Analysts say the pause reflects OPEC's attempt to stabilize prices after recent volatility and a sharp drop in risk appetite. Sports now. Former Zimbabwe captain Sean Williams' international career is all but over. Cricket Zimbabwe has announced that the all-rounder will no longer be considered for national selection. This comes after the senior all-rounder withdrew from the ICC Men's T20 World Cup Africa qualifier for 2025 on the eve of the tournament in September. Initially, Williams had cited personal reasons, but during an internal inquiry into the matter, Zimbabwe Cricket revealed that the veteran batter had confessed to struggling with drug addiction and had voluntarily entered rehabilitation. Pakistan cricketer Haris Rauf has been banned for 2 matches by the ICC. The pacer has received an automatic sanction after accumulating 4 demerit points within a 24-month period. The fast bowler, who was at the centre of the controversy during the 2 India-Pakistan clashes at the Asia Cup. The first came during the Super 4 clash when Rauf was caught on camera making gestures alluding to the downing of aircraft, a seeming reference to military tensions between India and Pakistan. A similar gesture during the final of the tournament resulted in another 2 demerit points, taking his total 4 and triggering an automatic 2-match suspension. The American Association of Retired Persons has announced that comedic and dramatic powerhouse Adam Sandler will be the recipient of its prestigious Career Achievement Award. The honor will be presented to the actor, writer and producer at a star-studded ceremony on January 10th next year. This marks Sandler's second AARP prize. He has previously won the Best Actor award in 2020 for his critically acclaimed performance in Uncut Gems. That's it on this edition of Speed News. News and updates will continue on the other side of this short break. Keep watching WION World Response.